All right, everybody, welcome back to the #1 television program in the history of the entire universe. I am Brian Lee Durfee, author of The Forgetting Moon, The Blackest Heart, and The Lonesome Crown, all three books published by Simon & Schuster's Saga Press. Today I'm going to be reviewing Midnight Tides by Steven Erikson. This is book number 5 in the magnificently epic, extraordinarily dope fantasy series Malazan, Book of the Fallen. I have got the little paperback version right here, and of course I've got my hardcover first edition version here that I bought back when the books first came out. I've been collecting these books since day one when they first came out. In fact, my entire hardcover collection is right down there. We'll pull out book number 1 because when book number 1 came out, I met Steven Erikson and had him sign my copy right there. You know, I always show off my signed copies. It's just what I do. Anyway, but this came out. Gosh, when did this first one come out? The early 2000s. I'm pretty sure it was 2000 and 1999. So it came out in 1999 in the UK, and then in 2004 it was released in the United States. And that's the United States version, which I bought in 2004. I went to a convention in 2004, had him sign the book there anyway. But then I loved the book. It's dope. If you want to see my review of this book and the first 4 books in the series, all you need to do, because I left a review of each book on the channel, all you need to do is type in my last name, Durfee, Steven Erikson's name or the title of the book, type those things into your YouTube search bar, and through some wicked sorcery that I don't understand, those video reviews will magically appear upon your television screen. Anyway, I've reviewed this one and the other first 4 books in the series. Now we're to book number 5, Midnight Tides. Let's talk about the covers first, because you know I love graphic design and cover illustration. I also have all the paperback versions too. Oh, and I also have all the audible.com versions. Although I've not listened to any of them yet. These books I still read the old-fashioned way, you know, opening them up and looking at them with my eyeballs. This cover was done by an artist, Steve Stone, who did pretty much all of the paperback versions of the book. It's okay. Now this cover is dynamite. This was done by Todd Lockwood, who did most of the hardcover versions of the series with the wonderful illustrations. You know, I mean, that's just a gorgeous picture right there, and it wraps around all the way. I will give the nod. I like this one better than this one, although I think the paperback versions have decent covers. I always kind of like the hardcover versions better, just because of you know, they're just cool. So let's hold this one up since it's the one I like. Some more aesthetically pleasing things about the book are there is a glossary of contents. Is that what it's called? There's a bunch of different maps, which we need because we're going to talk about the different maps in this book and how the maps in this book differ from the maps in the other books. We've got maps of different towns, and then we've got the dramatis personnel, or whatever it is. It's the, how do you say that? Dramatis personae. I think it's the dramatic people in the book, or a character list for those of us that are that don't know Latin, or whatever this language is that they. Okay, so we've got 3 pages of dramatis personae, and which is good because this is a big 1,000-page novel with a lot of things going on, a lot of plots, a lot of different characters, and we've not met most of these characters before. I mean, we're 4 books. This is the 5th book in the series. We're 5 books into the series, and we're looking at a whole new cast of characters. It's almost like this book is a side quest to the main story. This book takes a couple of characters that we've met before and sort of goes back into their history, it talks about that. It's not part of the main plot. However, it does add to the main plot in a roundabout way. Overall arcing story of the Malazan Book of the Fallen, which is very convoluted and confusing, which is part of its charm, though. And for those of you that have read these books, you know what I'm talking about. Steven Erikson just launches into these books. He doesn't give us much explanation for where we're at, why we're with these people, or what's going on. You just got to read along and try to figure it out. And that's part of the charm. That's part of like why we like the books, is because they're so different like that. And this one kind of amplifies that difference by being an entirely new set of characters. It's like a reset of the story. Like we've been following this story for 4 books, and now all of a sudden we're in a different story altogether. And it's interesting. It's actually kind of one of my favorite books, just because it is sort of a standalone within this overarching story theme of 10 books long. Enough about that. The prologue sets us up with this great epic clash of the elder gods. I mean, there's these floating cities that are crashing to the grounds. There's all of this chaos going on and all this wild magic and destruction. And it's just tremendously explained by Steven Erikson in his wonderful prose. That's another thing that's great about Steven Erikson, is he's got some of the best fantasy-esque prose in the fantasy genres of all the writers. He's one of the best at that. He paints a picture of a scene like nobody else. If his characters are walking through a forest or up to a castle, you understand what that forest is like. You understand what that castle is like. He does a great job of describing everything. And in this big epic battle that we get right at the beginning, he describes it all in the minutest detail, and it's just fantastic. And towards the end of this battle, we get just a hint, of the forging of a great sword. And in fact, it's called a, quote, in quotes, this is exactly what it's called in the book, a very particular sword. And so that's all I'll say about that, because then we jump to sort of our main storyline, which is, it stars Tomad Sengar and his 4 sons. His sons are Fear, Troll, Benedis, and Rulid. I don't know if I pronounced any of those correctly. Fear, I think I could pronounce correctly, because it's spelled F-E-A-R. And I think that's how I think it's Fear. Troll, Benedis, and Rulad. And now Troll we've kind of seen before in previous books, but he's the only one. But anyway, we get this story of these 4 brothers and the conflict that they have with each other, which kind of extends throughout the novel. Now we also get some other scenes told from some of the perspective of other characters. There's like a warlock lord, which I love, because Terry Brooks' Sword of Shannara was the first book I ever read that had a warlock lord in it. So I've always appreciated the 2 words together, warlock and lord together. We've got another warlock lord in this one. A lot of the story is told from his perspective, and there's just this novel, since it is kind of a standalone novel in the overarching, it's just a little more succinct. It's got more of a coherent sort of beginning, middle, and end. They've got these different acts to it that kind of flow, and the story doesn't wander and weave as much as the other books do, because the other books are part of a big, huge, overarching 10-book story, so they can kind of weave around, and you can go on all these different things and meet different characters. This one is a little more succinct, probably fewer characters than most of the Malazan books, but still a lot, still enough that you need a dramatis personae. to tell you who everybody is. I mean, we've got, oh, and then I'm talking about this side quest. Let's talk about the map, because I thought I would. This map here, you open up the book and you're introduced to this map, which you've never seen before in the previous 4 books. And you're like, what are we at now? What's going on now? Well, you just kind of have to read it and figure it out. It's just, I can't really say much more about it. I mean, I guess I could read the jacket copy so you could kind of get a gist of the book without any spoilers. But after decades of God, I don't even, oh, okay, I'm going to have to Google this word. Right at the beginning in the jacket copy, there's a word that I've never heard before. So, after decades of internecine warfare, God, what the fuck is internecine? INTERNECINE. Somebody Google that and tell me what that means. But okay, after decades of internecine warfare, the tribes of the Tiste Elder have, I don't know if I said that right either, Tiste Elder, Edar, the Tiste Edar, have at last, God, I should never, why do I make the mistake of reading out loud during these videos? Because I can't read out loud. I would be the worst Audible.com narrator on the fucking planet. In fact, I think what we should do is just get AI to read these for me in my voice. And that would probably, okay, let's start over. We'll edit all that out. After decades of internecine warfare, the tribes of the Tiste Edar have at last united under the warlock king of the Heroth. There is peace, but it has been exacted at a terrible price. A pact made with a hidden power whose motives are at best suspect, at worst deadly. To the south, the expansionist kingdom of Lethar, eager to fulfill its long prophesied renaissance as an empire reborn, has enslaved with rapacious hunger all its less civilized neighbors. All that is save one, the Tiste Edar, and it must be only a matter of time before they too must fall, either beneath the suffocating weight of gold or by slaughter at the edge of a sword, or so destiny has decreed. Yet as the two sides gather for a pivotal treaty neither truly wants, ancient forces are awakening, for the impending struggle between these two peoples is but a pale reflection of a far more profound primal battle, a confrontation charged with the still raw wound of an old betrayal and the craving for revenge at its seething heart. Oh, I got through it. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10 for Midnight Tides. It's just a dope fantasy book. One of many dope fantasy books that Steven Erikson has written. And that is my review, and I'm sticking to it.